Hello everyone and welcome to Day Job. I am your host, Code Marvelous, and today we are going to do the Whizzard deck that came in. We're going to do the Whizzard deck that came in second place at North American Nationals at Gen Con. So let's get ourselves an opponent and get right to it. The list is in the show notes below. It's just a goods, cards, and cipher based Whizzard deck. Yeah, it does Whizzard stuff. Let's see how we do. Morning, Paul. I don't know if I keep this. I think I want more money in my opener. But Cypher's really good against Builder of Nations. So maybe we keep it and we see what happens. So now we've got the Parasite on here, so whatever gets advanced first, we can kill it at instant speed. Alright, so we need to get multi-axis down to ASAP because our opponent is going to do the thing where they're just not going to res anything and try to pile advancements on now that they know what we're about. I would love if we could pick up some money. Pro tip, do not tell other people where to play Netrunner. But yeah, so instead of trying to create a good breaker rig, this deck just eliminates all ice that's a problem for the conspiracy breakers. I don't believe it fires. It's all right. Do we have a Clippy in the bin? Continuing on. Actually, we're not going to throw away both paper clips because that would be dumb. dig deep. Dig deep with that medium. Yet again, all Anarch decks are just delivery systems for medium. We're way richer than I anticipated that we would be. Just keep digging. Always be digging. That's basically game. See if we can get an ice res here. Matrix Analyzer. What an interesting deck. Money up, and then I think next turn, if we start running R&D, we'll see new cards. Blue Moose is such a freaking good card. These code gates, taxing. I meant to trash that, but the weird Kentucky menu freakouts. We're getting there. Let's go to the R&Ds. That's probably... Look at all these code gates. All right, this should probably close it. Yep. So I'll put the disclaimer that we're live streaming a tournament deck on here. I hope this weekend didn't burn people out. I noticed I'm playing this deck in casual because I play slower than I would in competitive. So I don't consider the live stream to go into competitive because I'm not going to give somebody a streamlined, quick tournament game. I'm going to give them a slower game. Also, the notion between casual and competitive is completely arbitrary. Also, I don't have time to wait around for competitive opponents. It takes longer to find competitive games than it does casual. I have a constrained time frame. I need to be in the place where I'm gonna be able to get opponents quickly. But yeah. Hopefully what happened this weekend at Gen Con is not keeping people from engaging the game, because I noticed that we have a precipitous drop in viewers this week. I know I took time off because of some stuff that was going on with my family, but yesterday and today we have about half the normal number of viewers. All right, let's do it. Yeah, that's kind of my approach, Richard, as well. As I'm trying to stay positive. Good morning, GT. That's a very good opener for our friend. I always wish that they had given Next Design 15 influence, because I think with 15 influence it would be imminently playable, and I don't think it would be overpowered. I just think it would be a contender, because getting potentially three free clicks for rushing and a normal complement of influence, I think it would be worth it. Now what we need is stuff in the bin. It's not going to get ghosted because they don't have an IP issue. Okay. So that's what we're looking for. Which it doesn't look like we're going to get, unfortunately. So let's poke around and figure out what some other ice is. Or we get a free access. Free access is good. Yeah, I don't think we're going to get ghosted because... Actually, I think I want that in the bin. Because we don't have that same kind of issue where we have an IP problem. Always be firing. Fire that beta test. Fire it. Fire it. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Rough. Alright, let's go check archives. I'll take it. Alright, see what goes on the pedal. God, with the deja vus on the peddlers. Still no Clippy. Get Blue Orchestra down. I would say almost assuredly that ice is next gold. Yeah, I can see that, GT. I believe in a thing called Clippy. Hey, Undead. Welcome, welcome. Always be Clippy-in. It's interesting. I mean, we're not going up against meta matchups, but the Hacktivist meeting is meant for moons, and it's just not coming up at all in either one of these matchups. Which is, you know, risks that you take. Look at all this blue moose fodder. The good news is we have no more deja vus for our street peddlers to hit. I don't know, I love this game. This game is always fun. Don't regret your time with it, Aubrey. What are you doing a eulogy? Like, the game is, in my opinion, is fine. It's all what you build and what you put in. You know, even if FFG kind of abandons the game from an organized play perspective, that just means that the players will have to stop leaning on their TOs and their stores as much and start generating the community that they want to see more directly. That's the key. You have to try to put in more to the game as the company support for it wanes to keep it alive. I know we're all here to play the game for fun, but you have to be willing to put in that effort to maintain the game. Alright. Clippy. No, but a parasite. So that's pretty rad. So let's gain a buck. And let's go R&D. It's broke. Things are getting spooky for our opponent. This deck is really brutally efficient. I mean, I say as if I'm surprised. Well, I think one of the things that helped me kind of keep my head on straight when it came to stuff with FFG, go on to glassdoor.com and look up the entry for Fantasy Flight Games. And if you're not familiar with that, it's a website where people put up reviews of employers. And it's pretty eye-opening, some of like the really weird decisions that seems to have been made in the past with FFG's games. When you read there and you see some of the things that are taken by the CEO. But yeah, check it out for yourself. But anyway, it's pretty eye-opening, is what I'm saying. And I think that maybe what we're dealing with is just that it's not the favorite child anymore. So a company where the CEO likes to keep everything super duper lean from a staffing perspective, he's pulling the resources that previously went to FFG as the star child of the LCGs. Black Orchestra is really a nightmarish breaker. It's so bad. It's so expensive. Clippy is a go. Yeah, it's pretty eye-opening though. That's why you have to try to separate the behavior of the behavior that is controlled by people in the company versus the behavior of the people, the things that are controlled by the actual devs of the game. That's what I've always tried to do, right? Like sometimes there can be design mistakes, right? Like Cypher as an example, that are the fault of the developers, and that's something that you can discuss. But when people are like, oh, there's no support for the game, or they're not giving us any announcements, the developers can yell and yell and yell, but they can't necessarily make the CEO make the game a priority anymore if the CEO has decided that it's not a priority anymore. Right? Like OP stuff, hype stuff, if they cut the advertising budget and move all the advertisers onto a different game, there's nothing Boggs can do about that. Yeah, it's tough. That's why I think that Spags and Company did a great thing by getting the A&R PC established early. Yep, there goes my parasites. Good thing I've still got one left. I don't know how many ARC lockdowns they're running, so I've got to keep the second copy of Clippy in hand. We're digging deep. This deck is so efficient. It's very elegant in its boring efficiency. But that's what wins. That's what wins. A deck that has its stated purpose and is good at filling that purpose, right? Does this deck only have 2 parasites and I missed it? No, it has 3. We just haven't hit it, the last one yet, because I don't want to deal with that brainstorm over and over and over again. But yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, you know, Netrunner is in its middle age. Netrunner is going to contract over time to a small influx, continuing influx of people who are discovering the game for the first time, and then along with that, people who are really into the game, like me, some of you who are really into the game and are gonna play it for the long haul. But like, there's going to be a thinning of the middle ranks, the people who played the game because of, you know, the meta that existed in the given time, or because they like the game, but the game has kind of run its course in their entertainment, right? People play the game for fun. So eventually, some people are going to move on, and, you know, L5R is going to be the new hotness. I'm not leaving it for Netrunner. I played Conquest while still playing Netrunner, and I play Arkham while still playing Netrunner. So I'm not going anywhere, but I'm going to play L5R. I think the most important thing, and if anybody ever listened to my guest spot on Terminal 7, I think one of the most important things that any of us can do in this game is do what I like to call making your own fun. Right? You have to decide what is the part of this game that you enjoy and try to promote that aspect of the game in the world. My favorite warlord in Conquest for actually being good was Broderick War. My favorite warlord for actually being powerful was, or for being janky, was the orc weird boy. What was his name? Oggs? That guy who had all of the snotlings. Oh, now I'm dying. I'm trying to remember his name. Zogwart. Yeah. I loved Zogwart. I love the orcs as a theme. I love that their stuff works because they believe that it works. This deck is so brutal. What's the colonists? Oh, that big, the epic board game. I haven't been able to get it to the table yet, unfortunately. But that's something I hope to rectify very soon. Okay, we've got the shovel out, and we're digging. We've got some degree of inevitability now, because we're just sitting on a throne of cash with 2 mediums. But yeah, you know, I can't really stress this enough. If you're concerned about the community, please get involved. Too often on the internet, I find that the people who have negative things to say are the ones that speak up, and the people who are content or happy feel that their feelings kind of speak for themselves. Let people know that you still think the game is good. You know, still tell people about how good of a game Netrunner is, right? About how much you enjoy it. The other thing that you can do is, you know, not everybody can do what I do, but if you have the ability to, just start recording games on JNet and putting it on YouTube or doing whatever. You know, that's how the day job stream started, was during the Mumbad cycle. I thought to myself, people are really down. People are thinking that these decks are just going to destroy the game and the game's not fun anymore. How can I show people that the game is as fun as you let it be? So I started just streaming what I would do normally, which is do this kind of stuff. Pick a deck off the internet or make one and just play it. I had a feeling that that's what was going to end up being there. If this is like a ruse and this is an aggressive secretary, okay. Ruse and no shin. This deck is brutal as shit. So this is the deck that came in second place at North American, the North American tournament. And yeah, it's got all the good Whizzard stuff and then just Blue Moose. So since you're an Anarch and like half your cards are going in the bin anyway, you might as well turn them, every single one of them, into 2 credits. Yeah, it's so good. I expected it to be poor, only having 2 Temujins, but Cipher Parasite saving you from big ice costs on your R&D runs really improves the cost curve for breaking ice. Hacktivist Meeting, I feel like it's a really impactful card that just didn't come up in either one of our games because of the matchups that we had. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Going back to the community, if you're concerned about the in-person community for Netrunner dying off, go to game night kits. Right? Not just store championships, not just regionals. Go to game night kits. You know, that guy who's trying to TO a game night kit in that store that's like 30 minutes from you and it's only got like 6 people on Facebook. Go to it, because the only reason it only has 6 people on Facebook is because everybody looks at it and says, I don't want to drive 30 minutes if there's only going to be like 10 people in the tournament. But if you all show up, it becomes a 15 or a 20 person tournament. And that's how people come up and ask what you're playing, and that's how players stay engaged. Go to all the tournaments that you can get to. Right? If there's events in your area, go to them. Reinforce to the stores that hosting Netrunner events is a good idea. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody. So, of course, as always, the MVP of this deck is Cipher Parasite. And man, is Black Orchestra a bad breaker for a lot of ice that we have. But we don't really have anything better because this deck is running very lean and mean, so it doesn't run Yogg. Right? One of the biggest pet peeves that I have is when people message me, you know, in the local area or, you know, nearby, and they're like, oh man, I'm just so concerned that Netrunner is dying. And I get that people have personal lives, not everybody can make it to tournaments. That's not what I'm saying. But when people are like, I feel like just Netrunner's dying, I'm like, well, did you go to that game night kit in DC? Did you go to that game night kit in Pennsylvania? No, I didn't want to drive all that way. Well, then you are the reason that you're not going to have a game to play. You've got to go, and you got to go to meetups if you can. You got to organize meetups if there's no meetups. You know, I think, I want to say it was the Alexis Spicer's meta. What is that, Arizona? No, Colorado. They organized all new players. You know, we're 5 years in. And they organized an all new players, teach people the game event with a lot of the pre-built, you know, like teaching decks. That's fantastic, right? If you can get people to try Netrunner, honestly, most people love it because the game's incredible. Do that kind of stuff. Save the game. Protect the game. And until I see all of you again, always be running.